Okay, so as you know, my name is Ayana Parkman, and I've been going to Coretta Scott King since 8th grade. So ever since I came here, I had better opportunities, not just for academics, but fine arts as well. I was actually noticed after I went on a festival in Florida that they wanted me to come perform in the honor band for New York and Australia. So I feel like they really put me out there more for me to get better scholarships. And academic-wise, I was able to go to the district for the science fair and the social studies fair, and that was my first time this year. And I really would be able to do that if it wasn't for the guidance of my teachers. Now, I agree with the first scenario because I feel like y'all put us to rest. We're more connected with them because that's our brother's school. So I feel like we're more like family. So I feel like y'all should consider more of the first scenario than the second one.
Thank you, Next speaker is Lauren Hester.
Hello. So I would just like to express things that I've expressed at the previous meetings, being that I believe our school has the potential to have the rich legacy that Douglas High School has created. And I believe that our school does have that potential, being that our school does have a CCRPI of 66%, and we had a graduation rate last year of 94%. So I believe that our school does have that potential to be a great school. And also, the thing about utilization rates, I believe that, well, myself personally, and along with many of my other peers, have stated and expressed that if the second scenario were to come to pass, we would not be going to Douglas High School, which would thus further weaken the utilization rate of the Douglas cluster as a whole, being that you're losing more students that are going to other clusters because they do not wish to attend Douglas High School. So I believe that, in short, if you must make any changes to our school, go with scenario one.
Hi, I really appreciate the revised second scenario. I think it makes more sense, especially since I'm a rising junior. So that means that I will be able to stay here. However, I have to think about the underclassmen that are here at my school and this, that won't have the same amount of opportunities that I have and I will have. And I personally think that you all should choose the first scenario because I believe that one will be putting the children first. Statistically, because my school is the only school in the Douglas cluster that has had above 70% in the past 3 years. So something here is working, and something at best is working also. So I feel like you shouldn't really quit on our schools like that. I feel like if you invested in transportation hubs and marketed our schools, we would have higher enrollment. But we haven't done that in the past, so we wouldn't really know. So I think you all should take that chance and invest into those things so that we can have more people enrolled in our school to do better. And the more people we have, the more likely we'll have a higher CCRPI score. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Speakers are Denasia Lewis, Caitlin Moore, and Maya Hardin. Please forgive me if I mispronounce your name. Denasia Lewis, Caitlin Moore, and Tamaya Hardin. You can do?
Denasia.
Come back on.
It's okay. So I want to thank you for reconsidering the first and second scenario. I've attended CSK since 8th grade, and I don't think I would have had any of the opportunities I have now at any other school. It's been a pleasure here, the community I have, the family I have, the relationships I have, the connection of students and teachers is wonderful. So once again, thank you for reconsidering the first and second scenario. I really want to go for this first scenario because you're still keeping that single gender option available for students who just for parents who might want that. And I believe that we're to happen, you would, yes, have to have transportation hubs and marketing, things of that nature. So I think you would have to take that chance because we haven't had it before, but if you want to raise the population, we might want to do that. But overall, thank you.
Thank you.
ago, my mom recently passed, and the teachers and my counselors, they've been there for me. And I don't want to come back and I'll be uncomfortable because I'm very familiar with my teachers and my counselor, Bill McCott. And I don't want to come back and start over with unfamiliar faces. And also, in Coretta, I had so much opportunities. I tried out to be the captain of the dance team for After School All-Stars, and I actually made it. And I have so much support from my big sister and my little sister and people that I'm familiar with, because everybody when I came here, they knew where I come from. And I don't want to just come to unfamiliar faces.
Next speaker is Tamaya Harden.
Hello, my name is Tamaya Harden. My sister's name is Tamia Harden. She graduated with the Legacy Class of 2014. I would just like to say that the closing of our school is making us miss out on a lot of opportunities, because coming here I've grown a lot and I've seen myself growing. Because even though our classes are small, I can say that this year I've improved a lot because I have A's and B's. Thank you.
Final speaker for the student category is Destiny Hood. Destiny Hood, are you present? Yes, she's coming. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Destiny Hood, and I attend Coretta Scott King Young Women's Leadership Academy. I just want to say that I've been attending this school since the sixth grade, and I'm currently in the 9th grade. And I just feel like this school has helped me grow academically and socially. And this school also offers a lot of opportunities for us young women. So I feel like you should go with scenario 1. Thank you.
All right. Let's move to our parent speakers category. Our first two speakers are Cyrita Carter, Kenya Marshall, and Patricia Goggins. Please come to the microphone and network.
Good afternoon. My name is Sarita Carter. I'm a member of the Best family. I would love for everyone to keep that first scenario. My grandson attends Best, and I've never known a young man to get up every morning and want to come to school like he do. So evidently something good is happening at Best. So would you please consider keeping the first scenario? Not only that, I hope everybody on the panel and you too, Dr. Christopher, realize how much stress we are putting on our children and parents. And I know you want to do what's right, and we want you to do what's right. So you have a tough job on your hands. Or I should say, we have a tough job. So whatever the outcome is, we will accept it and do the very best that we can. So I just want to let you know, as a community member, as a grandparent with a grandson at this, God bless everybody in this building tonight. Thank you.
Kenya Marshall.
She needed that.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am coming behind one of the grandparents of the Best Academy. First and foremost, let me say this: I am not against Douglas. I bleed black and gold, but I wear blue and gold for all of my young men, not just the two that I birthed. All of my young men, and I wear my pink and chocolate for my young ladies. But just a couple of questions. What is the educational strategy once scenario 1 and 2 take place? How much money will be saved if you close Best? If you do have to go in scenario, I choose scenario 1 because that leaves my young men at Best Academy, and they will be able to. I have a 9th grader who is behind but working extremely hard now. So he's already behind if you do these other strategies and all this other stuff, how do I know that he won't still be left behind? Remember, we are the school's APS of No Child Left Behind. These scenarios, I don't see my child without being left behind. And then I also have a rising ninth grade. My last question, when it comes to changes, what was the outcome of combining Kennedy and Brown Middle School?
Patricia Goggins.
My name is Pat Goggins, and as a 1980 alumni of Douglas High School, I would like to say I love my black and gold. That school had strong leadership, guidance, and discipline from 75, 80, and beyond. The era of Dr. Hill, Dr. Butts, Dr. Moody, all of the principals and teachers and staff that made Douglas who Douglas was. I believe in Douglas. I believe in CSK. I love Kip. Dr. Jernigan did a wonderful job with my son Daniel Goggins and made him the person that he is today. I'm about structure and discipline. This neighborhood has changed. It will never be the same. We don't have the Ford dealership, the Toyota dealership, the restaurants. We have nothing similar to what we had in the 70s and the 80s. The people are not here. The children are not here. That 12,000 student capacity, I don't know where that number came from, but those kids are not here and will never be in this area again. Those numbers are gone. So what we need to focus on the children that we have left, try to save them. Give them a good environment. I chose KIPP for Daniel because it had structure, it had leadership, and those teachers and parents embraced each other. My parents chose Douglas for the very same reason. And I chose CSK for Hannah Goggins for that reason. And I'm asking for scenario 1. And if we go to scenario 2, still look at what we can do for Douglas. Those kids that go to Douglas need safety, leadership, and guidance. And we need to try to save those children as well.
Good afternoon, board. Good afternoon, Dr. Christopherson. Well, I speak for the parents. You all know how I feel as a parent, and my son graduated last year, valedictorian of his class. I'm now speaking for the parents. I had one parent to say, what would you do if you chose to phase out Best and CSK, and in the next 2 to 3 years from now, they're thriving and on track, and that way you have took away from the students that wanted the opportunity to go to Best and CSK. What would you tell those parents? Next, the next parent said, we are not against Douglas. We simply are for our schools to keep our schools open. We voted you in to be our voice to keep our schools open. Another parent stated, so you're planning to take the same 6th grade teachers as in the current Harper Archer building and put them into the new Best building in, I guess it's scenario 2. So you will be running 2 middle schools. How would that affect the parents that have 2 middle school aged children? And also, how would you be saving money if you have to travel the 6th graders over to Harper Archer to participate in any programs and any activities that's going on with the athletic department also? Okay, now I'm going to speak for myself. I believe Best and CSK is thriving. We've only been a complete 6 through 12, 3 years now? Just give them a chance. Like the last lady said, if we can brand the school, put the school out there, it's probably a lot of people here that don't even know about Best and CSK. I've been to a couple elementary and middle schools myself, and when I tell them and speak of Best, they are lost. They don't even know what Best and CSK is. So I said, that we will have an open house to go to all the schools, put out flyers, let them know what Vincent CSK stands for, and give them the opportunity to have a single gender education, because it can work. Thank you.
Our next two speakers are Nicolette Robinson. Next two speakers in the parent category, Nicolette Robinson and Beverly Stevens.
Yes, I'm Ms. Ron. Hello, good evening. I'm a parent of a student at Best Academy, and I was a little bit nervous about him going to an all-boys wedding, on how he would like it, and how he would adapt. But he's thriving, he loves it. He thrived coming from Usher College Elementary, and the principal there was doing amazing things. He was really progressing the school forward to, reflect how I guess we want everyone else in the cluster and throughout, Atlanta Public Schools to improve. We all want our schools to improve, we want our students to be their best, and we want them to have as many opportunities as possible. And I think leaving open the single gender schools is the best option to allow them to do that. They seem to really appreciate and enjoy being in single gender classes and in those settings. I think they feel less pressure and more comfortable. And I think anything that makes them feel more comfortable and willing and want to go to school is something we should encourage. I also think that marketing is very important. If filling the seats is something that is a factor in all this, I feel like promoting each school, like Dr. Karskakis said, was like how you were saying, do the hugs, and I feel like even before you establish those hugs, you can do like trial hugs and have pep rallies at each school, to allow them a chance to promote their school and to show other students around the neighborhood and around the city how wonderful their school is and why it would be a good option, as well as just doing it different ways and trying it different ways. Like you could do like a job fair style promotion of the schools. We have one big event where all the schools that want to try to get people to come, we do like set up tables and things like a job, like how you would do a job fair. We could do it the same way. And we need to scout more for our elementary and middle schools the same way how we do our colleges for our kids, so that we can make sure that they have the best opportunities and that we are making sure that all the schools that we are, that are in our cluster that we kind of have to go to, that they offer those things that we know promote the opportunity that they need to be successful in the future. Thank you.
Council for the parent category, Beverly Stevens.
Good evening. My name is Beverly Stevens. I can't see. I don't have a whole lot to add. I won't use my 2 minutes probably, but this is my first time here, so I was thinking that we were coming in at a more of a offering suggestions. So I see that most of that has already been compiled, and of course my totals were going to be for Coretta. Coretta and Best to remain open as single gender schools. I do feel that having that choice is very important to students because we don't have any other single gender schools, and for some children, it's almost like it's a must for some children to learn. I mean, not saying that they can't learn in any other environment, but I think it can be a plus, especially if a child is just going to high school and they're nervous about going to high school, and I'm speaking of the high school situation. And I think that it's good for them I think it takes some of the pressure off when they don't have to go into a situation into a traditional situation. So I think having an option of a single gender school is good. My suggestion was going to be one that I see is already on the board, which would be to do single gender classes. I think Wesley does that, Wesley International does that, or they did. And so I think that would be good. And my only other suggestion that is not, is similar to that. I think that, I honestly feel that, and this may step on people's toes that have children at Coretta, my granddaughter goes here, but I think that it would be good if Coretta was just our high school and Best but in single gender classes, but you already got your options. And I think that if best were, was in middle school, single gender, that would have been my suggestion.
All right, our next three speakers from the community stakeholders list are Lanarion Norwood, Margaret Horton, and Chris Brown.
So good evening, I'm Lanarion Norwood, junior freshman political science major from Atlanta, Georgia. And one of the things I want to do is just go over three things I think is important, and I got a little time to do that. First, we talked about the CCRPI, and the second C is career. So it's important that we focus not just on academics, but careers inside of the school systems. Programs like vocational programs and technical programs like auto shop, etiquette class, cooking, cosmetology, etc. The second thing that's been a bit ambiguous to me is when we do scenario one, we put Coretta and Best in the same building. What are we going to do with programs like the JRTC program, where the whole department is at Best Academy, like the shooting range and the gun range and whatnot? In addition to that, if we do scenario two and we do these sports programs, how are we going to take these two rivalry teams and put them together? And there's going to be more people on the team will cost less, could be possible less opportunities for students to go off to college. Thirdly, relationships. We got relationships at Best Academy with the 100 Black men, and also Coretta and Douglas. They all have their separate relationships. Also, we have student relationships with these teachers and principals at these particular schools. So I just want to know how is it going to work if we do either scenario 1 and 2, what's going to happen to these teachers and or the principals. That's important to students inside of in their life. And then small classroom environments has proved to be successful. Hence, at Morehouse College, the cap is 15 students per class, and it calls for a lot of productivity inside the classroom. And last but certainly not least, I want to do comparative of scenario 1 to scenario 2. On scenario 1, you teach the single gender schools, small classroom environment. You got a healthy sports competition. Students can still go home to a homecoming for the single gender schools. You got unique experiences for single gender. But on the second world analysis, you have possibly bigger classroom sizes. You got more behavior issues and things of that nature. So with that being said, this is the proposition that I think we should do, and I think these questions should be answered. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm speaking as a stakeholder. As the young man has just said, there are groups that have relationships with the school. I'm a member of the Magnolia chapter of the Links Incorporated, and since the very beginning of the school in 2007, our chapter adopted a 6th grade class, and through their graduation, they have mentored them. In 2009 and 10 school year, we created what was called the Magnolia Academy, and the participants called Magnolia Stars. And we have met with those young ladies at least twice per month, and have exposed them to developmental activities, a myriad of programming that promoted growth. And at this time, the first cohort graduated in 2014. There was a great deal of fanfare. There were scholarships given them and gifts, and still they are being mentored by the Magnolia Links, and they are being given scholarships each year. 14 of the Magnolia Stars at that time, and they're at schools such as HBCUs, 2 Ivy League universities, and 6 Georgia schools. Presently, the second cohort, which began in 9th grade, we hired an educational consultant to write a secondary, rather college approach preparatory sequential program for these young ladies, and I've been meeting with them more than twice per month and exposing them to the best of Atlanta in their educational, cultural, and all other aspects. So I am very much in favor of tonight for that reason.
How y'all doing? And so I'm here to bring concern, as I've raised concern and heard a lot of comments from everybody in the audience over the last few meetings. But I want to bring your attention to the code for which we're doing these public hearings. And so OCGA 20-2-60 K1 says prior to a local board of education decision becoming effective to close any existing school where such closing results in transporting students from school to be closed in any new existing school or schools, even though no additional capital funding is required as a result of assignment thereto, those students from any school to be so closed. The local board of education shall conduct the following. And my concern is that I haven't really heard, and I think other people have said we haven't really heard from our elected officials in this capacity. The Board of Education must schedule and hold two public hearings and provide an opportunity for full discussion of the local Board of Education proposal to close such school or schools. I think we met the advertisement requirements. We must also provide identification of each school to be closed and location of each new or existing school to which the students in the school or schools to be closed will be reassigned. Propose the size of each new school in terms of number of students and grade configuration. The total cost is section D is the total cost including breakdown for state and local shares for school construction projects required to house students being reassigned from the school or schools to be closed. Local costs shall include identifying proposed sources of funds, whether from bond referendum proceeds or other sources. Plan for use or disposal of closed schools. The Board of Education shall request formal written consent or suggestions regarding the system organizational pattern or school sizes, and shall allow appropriate discussion during the public hearing. And so, since I've read that to my comment, is that we here.
Mr. Brown, your time, prior to provide comments, I think there was additional time for you to finish your comment at the end.
Okay, that's fine. So, can I request that time now since we're here?
I'm sorry.
I said, can we request that time now since we're at the end? I was the last person.
I don't think I understand your question.
Can I request for additional time?
No, there are only 2 minutes designated for each speaker at this portion.
So what I'm asking, I'm requesting for additional time from.
Sure, yeah, sure. Once we go through all the people who have the numbers, we're gonna open it back up for additional questions. Provided,
I have a comment card.
Our next 3 speakers for the community stakeholders category are Shauna Hayes Tavares, Barbara Simpson, and Quantavia Stiggers. Please come to the front.
Good evening. I'm not going to talk about the fact that when we talk about charter schools, we wanted them to be opting in and not a takeover of schools without the buy-in of the community. I'm not going to talk about the fact that KIPP does not have a great record when it comes to special education. We know that the Douglas cluster has a large percentage of special education. I'm not going to talk about the turnaround strategy and our promise about the turnaround strategy. I'm not going to talk about how I don't see how this is going to make Douglas stronger. I'm not going to talk about the fact that the waiting list for KIPP, the Douglas cluster, are they all in the Woodson Park community or are they dispersed throughout the community? I'm not sure how that has anything to do with it. I'm not going to talk about the fact that the growing area in the Woodson Park would be about segregation and oppression. I'm not certainly going to talk about the money that they will not be able to leverage if the process is not available and that we will resort back to providing an opportunity to have 4 empty buildings in our school cluster. I'm not going to talk about scenario 1 that creates 4 middle schools in a community in which we say we are underutilized in capacity. I'm not going to talk about the fact that the revitalization plan is not the first time that it has come to APS. Centennial has done it, East Lake Foundation has done it, and I think that we need to look at those best practices around how that community was built, developed, and how the parents that live and people that live in that community were possibly displaced as a result of the revitalization. So I don't want to talk about that. What I do want to talk about is process. I want us to remember that we have a process that we have said that we are implementing this school year called the charter system. And it has a governance process with it. And what I will say again is that we have breached our contract. We cannot say that we'll get it right next time, because no one on this board has promised to be here next time. And so we can't say that we'll redo the process and we'll make it right. We have to stop right now and do the process correct, because that is the promise that you all have given us through your contract with the state.
She's passing our opportunity to speak. Our next speaker is Quintavious Stiggins. While Quintavious comes to the mic, Gail Matt will follow Mr. Stiggers, and I think it's Hardy Glass Jr.
Hello, my name is Quintavious Stiggers. I'm a recent graduate of this Academy High School. So a few things that I want to touch on is that, like, how do you expect CCRPI scores to increase if you have schools that make a small population closing? And how does phasing out schools would benefit the Douglas cluster? Because if you close those schools, that opens up opportunity for those students to actually leave the cluster, and that doesn't benefit us here in the Douglas cluster. Another thing that I wanted to clarify is how are CCRPI scores calculated? You should definitely express that in these meetings, because I don't think I've heard that at all during this meeting. And one thing, how do we account for those partnerships that are going to be lost from Mass Academy if we close this school? And the last thing I want to touch on is, for us to focus on the community, we need to focus on the best choice for the community. And I think the best choice for the community is giving the community a choice. And I second scenario 1.
Good evening, my name is Gail Mapp. I grew up in the neighborhood. My husband graduated from Douglas. He went to Georgia Tech from there. He's now a civil engineer. We are business owners in the community. We own property in the community. So I am a community stakeholder. And I'm also on the steering committee that has been going over all of this since December. And what I really want to do is present the bigger picture, because everyone comes up to the mic and they talk about their school. I want to present the bigger picture. We have a community that is dying. We have a community that has not been paid attention to by the city of Atlanta ever. And what we need at this point is a spark. And I see the Woodson Academy School being that spark. We have people who want to invest in our neighborhood. And what I want to do is to make sure that we have a community benefits agreement that would allow all of our schools to flourish, and our community, and our neighborhoods, and the parents. And we would have a say, because we sit down at the table at the beginning and say, we have to have this in housing, we have to have this in jobs, we have to do this for businesses, we have to do this for the community, this for the children, for everyone concerned. So please look at the big picture, because Woodson Academy, that would spark our neighborhood and our community. It would help us grow and flourish again, and we can control it. We don't have to have gentrification. We are on the front end of this, and if we remain on the front end of this and look at the big picture, then I think we can succeed. Now, I must say that I am for Douglas, because my husband went to Douglas. I grew up in the neighborhood, black and gold. Let's go.
Hardy Glass, and following Mr. Glass, our final speaker for the evening, Reverend Larry Gibb.
Good afternoon. My name is Hardy Glass Jr. I am an alumnus of Frederick Douglass High School, class of 1982. I am a very active alumnus. I grew up in these communities. I still give back. And I'm one of those people, I just don't come around when things are bad. I'm always giving my time at Douglas. I give my money at Douglas. I have mentees at Douglas. And for all of the students, one thing I want you to understand is this. Your success is not contingent on any building. These are buildings. It's not contingent on a building. It's the you factor. It's you. See, the successes that the people that you see up here is because we decided that we were going to be successful in life. Change is going to happen in your life, regardless. What I want everyone to understand is the community is at stake. We're talking about bettering the entire community, not just one institution. We're talking about what's best for the entire community. So we have to stop being selfish sometimes and think about other people. You have to think about the entire community as a whole instead of just looking at one piece of it. So for the board members, I know you have a hard job, but I sat on the steering committee since December. Trust me, we've gone over 1,000 different scenarios, trying to come up with the best scenario. These two are the last two that we can come up with. We changed everything. And people ask, they say, well, it continues to change. It continues to change because it's a moving target, simply because we're listening at what the community says. We sat in meetings with teachers. We sat in with the principals. We sat in community meetings from every aspect of this cluster. We sat down with people. So just know that we've taken everything into consideration. Thank you. And option 2 is what we want.
Reverend Larry Hill, let's keep the program going.
I didn't fool you all.
Thank you so very much, board members.
Good evening. The house is out of order. If we can come back to order, please, so we can, the board can hear the comments. Please start as time.
Good evening, good afternoon, board members, Mr. Superintendent, thank you so very much for the presentation. I'm Reverend Larry Hill. I serve as pastor of the local church, as well as chair of the Douglas Cluster Steering Committee, as well as vice president of the Northwest Business Association, and many other hats. I'd just like to try to echo some of the same sentiments of sound that the two previous individuals, Ms. Mount as well as Mr. Blash, indicated earlier. Within the last 41 plus years, the Northwest Atlantic, in terms of Hollowell, Bankhead, has been ignored on all fronts. There has been, to my understanding, almost 3 establishments. That would be the building that we're currently sitting in, as well as Best Academy, as well as a couple other buildings. No new development in this area. At the same time, over 10,000 residents has been relocated. We have lost a bank, we lost a grocery store, we lost CVS. Businesses are pulling away. Just 3 weeks ago, many of you probably watched the news. I myself was locked in a community center where there was a shootout. We need to really think about the large picture. How do we redevelop, not just redevelop a school, but redevelop a community? I believe, along with other pastors and the Northwest Business Association, that we must begin to spark some form of development. And the Emerald Corridor Partnership will allow us to spark that development. Yes, we must concentrate on education, but I believe if we have good schools with a rundown, violent community, we're still doing ourselves no good and no justice. So I ask you, please, let's vote for the development.
This concludes our public comment.